Welcome to the PoPolitickin show. Founded in 2008, PoPolitickin is a hip-hop meets self-help brand. With each interview, we teach the babies and share success secrets with you, the listener. Past guests of the PoPolitickin show include Yo Gotti, Currency, MC Light, BG, Dead Prez, Rashida, Project Pat, and more. We also showcase the future upcoming stars of hip-hop. Subscribe on iTunes and get automatic updates of each podcast episode.
PoPolitickin.com.
Yo, what's up? This is Cam Gnarly. I'm on PoPolitickin, and you can check it out on Spotify and, tap in. Keep it POSI. Hey. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey.
Rich in game, fortune, hall of fame, clean without a stain. Ain't no names, just my alias. Under radar shit, can't be caught. I ain't never lacking. All I know is action, come direct. Just like my deposits, hands up out my pockets. How many knots I got in my wallet? Is none of your knowledge. Mind your business while I'm handling business. Looking like a witness, give me space. I like I'm in orbit. All my goals enormous, can't be laid up dormant. Can't relate my wave going, man. They on my line, cause they want my time. I say so low key, dog. I'm hard to find. I might boost my price up, I'm feeling like it's time. It's time to boost the price up, feeling like it's time. Hey, top notch posse want the most, not the lesser. Used to keep my dope zip locked in my dresser. Gotta keep my scope on swivel for finesses. You never know when the devil's gonna test you. Top notch posse want the most, not the lesser. Used to keep my dope zip locked in my dresser. I gotta keep my scope on swivel for finesses. You never know when the devil's gonna test you.
They be on my line, I can hear them now, trying to get to me, but I'm way too high. See, we not the same, time notch every day. Tell myself the truth, a fortune on my plate, till I DOA, hey, show them all the way. Keep my freaks at bay, take care of your bay, listen what I say, they tryna take your cake, stay ready with the hate, make only way you can't break, stronger every day, wait, pace your ego, don't stray, hear no evil, I'm straight, see no evil, I'm great, time notch every day, break away all the chains, face demons like a hot plate,
Top notch posse want the most, not the lesser. Used to keep my dope zip locked in my dresser. Gotta keep my scope on swivel for finesses. You never know when the devil's gonna test you. Top notch posse want the most, not the lesser. Used to keep my dope zip locked in my dresser. I gotta keep my scope on swivel for finesses. You never know when the devil's gonna test you. Mindset on growth, pockets not broke, lane switch, gang riches, stay mindful and mind your business. Mindset on growth, pockets not broke, lane switch, gang riches, stay mindful and mind your business. Top notch posse want the most, not the lesser. Used to keep my dope zip locked in my dresser. Gotta keep my scope on swivel for finesses. You never know when the devil's gonna test you. Top notch posse want the most, not the lesser. Used to keep my dope zip locked in my dresser. Gotta keep my scope on swivel for finesses. You never know when the devil's gonna test you.
Welcome back to PoPolitickin.com, your home for self-help meets hip-hop. Make sure you follow us on Spotify. Get all our podcasts on there. 1, 2, I'm in the place to be with my homie Cam Gnarly. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, brother. Happy Saturday.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So the first thing I want to ask you about your name, because I just interviewed Noah James, and he told me to ask you why you changed your name from Kid Cam to Cam Gnarly.
Why did I change my name?
Yeah.
Cause I stopped being a kid. But also, that wasn't a name that I gave to myself. It was more so that like people were calling me that because I was so young at the time that I was coming into music. When I first started making music, I was like 18, 19. And, a lot of the cats that I was around was already like 24, 25, so a lot of people would just call, my name is Cam. That's just what my name is. But they'll call me Kid Cam because I was a kid. So I kind of like ran with it for a little while. But when I decided to take music more seriously and like really, really like grasp my own direction and stuff like that, that's when I decided to go by Cam Gnarly.
All right. And I reading you from San Bernardino.
Yeah, I am.
All right. So I just want you to talk about your background, like growing up, how you got involved with music.
Man, I started getting into music. I was just always really into music. I used to sing in the choir when I was young, and I went to a performing arts elementary school out in Fontana, California, and I was just always into music. I just I love music. My parents sang in the choir, kind of thing, in church. I sang in the choir at school and stuff like that. So later on, I was in like high school, and I heard somebody rapping on the back of a bus one time, and I was just like in awe. I was like, man, I need to learn how to do that. So from then on, like mentally, just started like training myself inside my head, like turning everything into raps and bars, and like figuring out bar structure, and really studying the grades of music. And I started freestyling like probably like all throughout high school, and then when I got into college is when I started really taking it serious. I was like this close to joining like a fraternity, and instead I got into music and never looked back.
So who were some of the rappers that influenced you in your early stages?
When I was just, I'm a fan first. Like I said, I love music. My mother's from Chicago, so I loved a lot of Midwest sounds. I was a big Twista fan back in the day. I liked R. Kelly, Kanye West for sure. But my pops is from Venice in California, over here in Cali. So I loved like a lot of West Coast rap, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. But like but by the time I really started getting into music, I was really into like that was around like shit like 08, you know what I'm saying? Like 09. So I was listening to like a lot of the Cool Kids, Pac Div, Dom Kennedy's and stuff. Those are a lot of the artists that I opened up for when I first started doing music. Like I was opening up for the people that I was literally listening to at the time. So like that just put me in like a whole nother trajectory, I think.
So how would you describe your sound to people?
Today, my sound has grown a lot as I've grown through our music. Like I said, I started when I was really young, but my music is very purposeful. A part of my musical movement is the POSI waves. POSI world has, it's all about. It's based in positivity. It's based in, understanding the yin and yang of life and choosing positivity and choosing to, to have a positive reaction to all the things that life may throw at you. My music is a mixture. It's a West Coast sound, melodic sound. I like to keep a cool little melody or a dope little bounce throughout my raps and my flows. But I rap for the people who are trying to, heal themselves, for the people who are trying to feel good. Like I make music that's gonna make you feel good while you're listening to it. Sonically it may sound like a trap song or something like that, but the lyrical content, the substance there is some shit that you're like, that I'm trying to embed into people. I'm trying to give them gems,
Where did the POSI world originate? How did it originate? I like that. That's cool.
I started saying I just felt like in my life personally, I went through a lot of negative situations when I first started making music. I lost a lot of friends. I went to jail. I did all kinds of stupid shit in my younger years, and something that my homie would always tell me, like, man, like, it only happens to you, Cam. That kind of shit only happens to you. Like, you always have, like, a positive outcome, even in negative situations. And, from there, I started, like, saying that all the time. Like, I started saying, like, oh, you got to keep it positive, be positive. And that was, like, all the way back in, like, 2012, like, speaking about positive or really maintaining a positive mentality. And, from there, it kind of grew throughout my music. I decided to be way more purposeful in my music and the messages that the music was giving out. In 2015, I put out an album called Go Pro, which stood for, go professional, go provide, go produce. And then in that's where the POSI mentality came from, because I started rapping about that a lot in that project, like, maintaining the positive mental attitude. And then my follow-up EP after that, The POSI Prevails, which was really just about every song had a certain narrative to it that had to do with, something negative happened and then bouncing back, or, bouncing into like a good situation, like I said, I experienced like a lot of, just went through a lot of dumb shit when I was young, and I maintained a positive mental attitude is really what.
But did you read a book? You've been reading certain books you read, or?
Yeah, you know what? I do. One of my books that put me not so much toward positivity. I kind of got into like a lot of sacred geometry around that time. I started really getting into into metaphysics, and I started really understanding the way you can like pay attention to the omens of the universe and see that once you decide how you want things to be, once you make that choice, that cognitive decision, the universe kind of like will take steps to make that thing happen. Like, you know, time is like the time that it takes for what you want to happen is just the buffer of time. It just takes time for that thing to happen. But the moment that you make a decision and that's what you want it to be, I used to describe it to the homies as like you make a wish of what you want to do and you throw it out into space, into the universe, and it hits the wall. And as it clusters back all of the moments and the opportunities and situations that will inevitably come for that one thing, you know, because you get what you give. What you send out is what you're going to get back. So that's why I really started getting into positivity. But before that, I had read The War of Art by, I think I actually got it right over here. This is a book called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. I don't know if you ever seen it before.
What's up?
But this is this book was really like the inspiration behind my 2015 GoPro project, because a lot of this book talks about breaking and, you know, overcoming your, you know, pretty much, you know, overcoming your inner creative battles and, you know, overcoming self-sabotage and the shit that we all just do when we know we should be doing something else, but we give ourselves excuses. Like, you know, a lot of that book had to do with like, you know, what a professional does. Like, how do you be a professional? How do you go pro? That's where that inspiration came from. And then from there, you know, I just got more I got more spiritual and I got, you know, more self-aware. And that's where, you know, understanding that kind of balance guided me towards like, you know, being a conduit for like positivity. Like, that's just where I'm at.
What's up, man? I like that. So why is music important to you? What feeling or emotions does it give you?
Because music is a big conductor, man. It can, you know, harmony and sound, you know, it really taps into people differently than just sometimes spoken word can. You know, music can change people. Like, I was just discussing with my girl yesterday. I remember seeing music, you know, how it can change a room, you know, how it can also, not only can it change a room and ignite a room, it can also unify a whole room and a whole people, you know, when everybody is tapped into a sound. It's almost similar to like church, you know, like when that energy, that spirit is in the air, you know, music is like that. Music is like casting spells. It's like spirits. Like when somebody feels that song and they connect to that song, they create a memory in that song. Like, you know, you never, you know, not a lot of things can give you that feeling. And there's a lot of songs that as soon as I hear them, it's like I'm smelling the memory. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, music can really encapsulate you that way.
You know, why is hip hop important to you? Or what is hip hop to you?
Hip hop to me is me, because I was just talking to my cousin about this morning too. Because like, hip hop is me. Like, I grew up in the early 90s and stuff, so there was, you know, I already have a certain knowledge of like other aspects of music because it was just popular culture around that time. But growing up in the early 90s and seeing people that looked like me, you know, seeing and hearing these messages and this type of information, and also realizing that like the struggles of that I'm going through or people in my family are going through is resonating to all other Black people. You know, like, hip hop is an original American art form. It's an original American Black art form. Like, it started in America, created by Black people. Like, I always had a connection to it. I used to write the original starting five of hip hop. You know, Run DMC, LL Cool J, you know, Eric B and Rakim. Like, I used to really study that because I love hip hop like that. And when music changed, I grew and changed with it. Like, so, you know, hip hop is a big part of my life because I was born in the time that it already existed, you know, but it was also still in its infancy. So, like, seeing it grow to where it is now, like, hip hop is me. Like, I identify with it. It's way more complex than just hip hop these days, but I love hip hop. Like, it's an expression of me.
Now, once you talk about your current projects, I saw the POSI World Volume 1. So I just wanted you to talk about that and if you had any current other projects coming out.
POSI World Volume 1 is it's a playlist of my favorite songs that I made over the last few years. It also includes 4 new singles that I released in 2018 at the end of 2017. The 9, Hydrated, Top Notch, and World. Those 4 singles are going to be the lead into my next project. Currently, the title is Quiet as It's Kept, but that's a working title. it pretty much means like, I'm in the mindset right now that you just got to keep your head down and keep working. And when you're able to maintain that mindset, a lot of the achievements that you have are personal, and and a lot of the energy that I'm giving is only for only to stay dedicated and self-disciplined. And a lot of that stuff is quiet. A lot of that stuff is done, in silence or within. So that's where I'm really at with it. So that's gonna be my next project, probably around like end of September. But POSI World is like a playlist of all my favorite songs. Like it has like fan favorites on there, like Levitate. If people are gonna like just start checking out my music and just getting into like who is Cam Gnarly, I would suggest listening to POSI World Volume 1, because that just has like just a real mixture of all the different types of textures of music that I can make. Because I make a lot of different kind of songs. I don't really subscribe to one sound. I like to just have fun with it, and I use my voice as an instrument.
And then what's the Order label?
The Order label, man, that's it's the rap leg of the Alpha Pup Records out of Los Angeles, headed by Daddy Kev and Self Jupiter of the legendary Freestyle Fellowship. And on that label, it's myself, Noah James, Hugh Augustine, Pyramid Vitrum, like a lot of the homie True and Homies Only. It's a lot of young, up and coming indie artists that are have the ability to be in the music industry without having to deal with the industry bullshit. Like it all still feels very underground, though. We have a strong backing behind us.
What's up? And then what are your interests outside of music?
Outside of music, man, I work with the youth. I work with the kids. Like I work for the last, I want to say about 4 or 5 years. I've worked with. I've been an instructional aide, teacher's assistant. I work for the Boys and Girls Club in Beaumont. I work for the Boys and Girls Club in my city, San Bernardino. Middle schools, elementary schools. I worked in the classroom doing music programs, as well as poetry programs, writing prompts. I have my friends come in and we record music with the students. And then a few years ago, I got promoted, so now I like facilitate other artists and other other people to take on that same platform and work in the classroom with kids. But that's always been like a passion. Just even within my family, though, like my parents really worked in a lot of schools and my football leagues and stuff like that. So that's just like second nature.
Yeah, that's great. That's cool, man.
Yeah, man, I love work. I'm the oldest in my family, and my aunts and uncles who worked in after school programs and stuff, and I participated in after school programs, playing football and like I said, singing in the choir, doing music stuff. I was in Black Student Union. Like I know the importance of like having somebody there outside of the regular school system to encourage you, because I like making positive impacts. Like when it's all said and done. When I'm gone, people will be able to say like I made positive impacts throughout my music and throughout my life's work. So, that's my overall intention. When it's all over, like I just want to be able to say that I helped and healed a certain amount of people and was able to make an impact.
What are some things you do as far as personal development?
Personal development?
Mm-hmm.
What do you like self-care kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm really into I'm heavy into meditation. I'm really into also yoga. Like I do a lot of like yoga exercises, and I really feel like self-care really comes down to like whatever your personal routine is. Whatever it is that you like to do or need to do to be able to go out into the world every day. So for me, that's like going for runs and going for walks and being in a creative environment. I write every single day. I challenge myself to read like 10 pages of whatever book that I can in a day. All that stuff is for personal development. Like I really, you got to water, your mind and your body is like a plant. You got to water it. You got to feed your body the healthy things so you can keep going. You got to feed your mind the healthy things so you can keep going. So for me, personal wellness is like, doing my meditation, keeping my crystals on me, like, my works and studies into sacred geometry. I stay, keeping my energies clean and, burning the sage and the Palo Santo, like keeping the energy around myself and my family, like, balanced and healthy and trying to stay in alignment. Like that's really.
What does the crystals do for you?
Certain I don't know, are you knowledgeable about like crystals and stuff like that, but for me, the crystals that work the best when I need them to, like my three favorites would probably be the rose quartz, citrine, and the amethyst. Amethyst, helps me with my intention. Citrine helps me with my intention and my focus, and then the rose quartz helps me with my heart chakra and like being more open and loving and stuff like that. So,
where you get them from? Like online or?
Do I get those online? I go to this place. There's this place. I don't know if anybody is ever driving through Arizona or anything, but I go to this place called Bella's Crystal Garden, and it's like literally like 2 exits away from the border of California and Arizona, and it's like a big crystal garden. Geostones, that kind of thing. Arizona has a lot of mountains and natural mountain ranges and stuff like that where people mine these crystals and go and get them. But out there, it's just like 1,500 square feet of just like crystals all over the place, all different kinds of shapes and sizes, like really big ones as big as your head, little ones, little shards and stuff like that people make jewelry and different things like that. When I started getting into becoming more into my spirituality and really understanding that the human body has a vibrational frequency.
Right.
That's the same thing as like a positive vibrations, negative vibrations. Positive electrons, negative electrons. Like it all balances out. So, everything is a derivative of everything. Like, I like to quote the homie Punch from TDE. He always says like, "There's truth in everything." His whole thing is just trying to find out where it got twisted up at, because there's a big similarity between like positive electrons and negative electrons, and the same thing as positive energy and negative energy. It's the same thing.
Then you notice you need them both. It ain't just positive. All the stuff is you need both sides of it.
Exactly, like, and that's what I feel like. A lot of that, what's happening in the world, and also what I feel like my next piece of music will reflect as well, is that not everything is always positive or on the light side, but it doesn't mean that negativity can be like vanquished. You gotta maintain both. It's a balance. Like life is a good and the bad. Like when shit, because nothing's ever all good, but also nothing's ever all bad. Like it's things are way too complex. We're all people, and I see a lot of times now our society is going to a space where we just kind of like demonize people or throw them away completely. And a lot of I feel like there's a balance for both sides, and the fact that we can't hear each other out that's where we're really creating that divide between like what one person calls good and one person calls evil. And going back to crystals and why I talked about like certain vibrational frequencies, you're going to have negative, you're going to have positive. Stones have their own vibrational frequency, and they can increase yours or they can nullify it sometimes too, depending on what kind of stone you have, because each stone and every living thing has every solid object has a vibrational frequency, some lower than others. But when it comes to like crystals and stones, some of them, like I said, they amplify your frequencies, and some of them, just affect them.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring you back on. You're gonna have to break down the crystal game for us. It seems like you know a little bit.
I know a little bit. It's like I said, it's going back to self-care and to going back to self-care, self-works, this is the stuff that I picked up along the way. I read what I can read, but I also know what I know just based on, taking that time to build on my own self-conscious and building my own consciousness. Like I picked up a lot of these things whereas, a lot of stuff that we just see all the time, like a lot of cliches, really hold a lot of weight and ring very true when you dive into them a lot more. And I notice a lot of those same kind of things in like sacred geometry, metaphysics, crystals. Like there's certain things that are easier to understand than most people let on to, and they're really taboo sometimes.
I would say, what's your opinion about social media as far as an artist? Because I feel like that's good and that can be bad too. Because some people get caught up in doing everything for social media.
True, like everything got a good and a bad to it, but has its pluses and minuses. Everything goes. That's crazy. Everything go back to positive, negative. But I like social media. I like social media. Like in the sense that I grew up on the internet too. I know what life was like before the internet, but I like the internet, and it's a good way for us to communicate. But I notice a lot now. Like the internet is kind of controlling our society, because whatever opinions come on the internet kind of like choose what we're going to do about it. Before, I feel like there was more of like a mature social dialogue about how we handle certain situations, when we were only dealing with like radio and media being like TV press. But now with internet, there's a lot more opinions, and people don't read anymore so much the facts. They just want the juicy morsels of information, and they don't really grasp the information. Like, I don't know if you ever seen a video with Denzel Washington. He's like, what's the long-term effects of too much information? Like, people don't read anymore, or they take the first bit of information that they get and take it as fact, because there's so much to read, there's so much to intake, and there's a lot that we're intaking that we don't even know that we're reading or intaking, because as you scrolling through Twitter, like you're reading a lot of little stuff, and we all read a little bit of stuff, and then we create an opinion based on these little tidbits of information that we have. And I feel like it wasn't so much like that anymore, or it wasn't so much like that in the past.
And then I figure too, like sometimes it's like you said, are you researching it? Like, just because somebody put it on Instagram, it don't mean it's real. But people
exactly.
Like if they see on Instagram, they think it's the real thing. Like, you gotta research it,
and it's not. And it's not. You got to do your own research. Like, I be telling the homies all the time, whatever it is that you like, what you really like, you got to do the research on. Like, the things that I'm into, I really get into. Like, I'm into anime, Dragon Ball Z. I dig deep into that, that fandom, that culture, something that I like, something that I'm into. Like, you got to do the same thing about the things that are going on today, right now. Like, you have to discern through the information that you're getting and make your own opinion based on the facts that you're getting. Like, but you can't base an opinion off abundance of opinions. Like, and that's what we get now. Like, everybody's so caught up in their feelings based on their opinions, but they try to, I feel like now these days, feeling and, people's feelings and opinions are held in a higher esteem than like the facts.
So. All right. And then what are your top 3 goals for your career right now?
For my top 3 goals right now, honestly, I'm trying to get out the country for musical purposes. Of course, I definitely want to be a touring artist that can do music and tour the world. I want to be a global artist, not just an American artist. Or I want to be considered an American artist, not just a California artist or Inland Empire artist. Like, I want to transcend those things and take my music to a higher plateau and give it its highest frequency that it can, so it can affect and impact as many people as I can. So I like the
global, huh? Gotta be global.
Yeah, exactly, man. And that's a lot of the reason why POSI, what was once I called POSI waves, having to do with frequencies and stuff like that. Now I've, kind of rebranding and rebuilding and going into like a more of a global mindset with the impact that can be made with the music and the movement and the kind of man I am behind it. So like, that's why we're doing POSI World. Like, that's, to give it more of a global view and take it beyond just like one tidbit of a frequency and show that we're trying to take it global. So definitely leaving the country, touring outside or doing shows outside of America is definitely on top of my list. Definitely to even do an American tour would be really dope, to go across the United States, do like a, if I could do like a 50 city tour or something like that throughout the United States, that'd be dope. But just the overall goal too, man, is just personal victories, personal goals, like just really getting my personal life together, and also maintaining balance between, my daily life and my musician life. And and that in itself is a daily hardship that we all gotta maneuver through, between what we want to do and what we gotta do, and things like that. But for me, my goal with my music and the effect that I wish the effect that I intend on it to have on my life as it is today, like, I just want to be able to go further and experience more, and also be able to broaden my network so I can create a greater impact.
What advice would you give to new artists, as far as like branding, marketing, building a buzz, building your brand?
I would suggest trial and error. Really, everything is trial and error. So I would it would really come down to like not stopping. That would be my advice. Like not stopping.
All right, what would you like to say to your fans?
To my fans, shit, man, like thank you for believing in me and continuously supporting me and growing with me throughout the music. And not only is it just listening to the music, but I feel like the people who listen to my music, who really grasp it and get into it, they take that energy and they take it and put it into the things that they're doing. So like, I applaud the people who listen to my music and take that message and put it into what they do. Like I applaud them for creating positive impacts in their life. Like, cause that's the overall goal. Like I rap about the stuff that I go through and the things that heal me and the mentalities and the thought processes that get me through them. And when I'm able to give that to other people and they can do that within their own life and apply those mentalities and that game that I'm giving them to their own life, then, then I'm successful. I'm happy that I was able to make a positive impact in people's lives. So if, for the people who are still rocking with me and still listening to me, I've still got more game to give. And I hope that shit is making a positive impact on your daily life.
And anybody that's listening to this interview right now, they just not hearing about you. Just let them know why they should follow you on your journey.
Follow me on my journey because we're doing something that not everyone is doing right now, and the musical ability and the substance of the music and the full overall range of the music is broader than to be able to only exist in one certain genre or only exist under one certain type of sound. Listening to the music that I make and my homies and my contemporaries and people who we all travel in the same circles, like we're doing something completely different and taking our personal mentalities and applying those things into our music and giving you a more authentic artist than you've experienced or that you're experiencing right now. Like, so, rocking with us is like rocking with the most authentic thing you can.
What's up, man? I want to say thanks for coming through politicking with me.
Man, thank you for having me, man. I hope I wasn't too winded,
No, you good, man. Me, you good. I would say, this self-help too, man. So you're gonna have to come back on and talk about those crystals a little bit more. So,
man,
we could have went on and on about that.
yeah, let me know, man. Let me know.
You want to tell them your social media and everything?
Man, you guys can find me. You can just Google me. My socials is the same across the board. Cam Gnarly, CamGnarly, CamGnar on Instagram. But yeah, you can just Google Cam Gnarly. I'm on every streaming service, whatever they listen to their music on, however they getting their music. Even if they stealing it from SoundCloud, like you can find my shit everywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been getting high, staying hydrated. Focus on my highs, not my lows, baby. I be levitating by the poolside. I say meditating like the woolside. They told me that the more you do, the more you get. I told them I want more real, no more counterfeit. I know what is meant for me, ain't got a chase. I rest in where you meet your dreams halfway. You got an expensive taste and wasteful place. Don't wanna see me shine, you get my lampshade. When you illuminate the truth, you bruise the egos. We don't believe in egos, sweet amigos, no. If you see a nigga going through it, that's just God pushing me to do it. Don't take an L, learn a lesson, trust the path, doing what I'm destined. Learn to use your light like a weapon. It can strengthen you like Zenju beans. It can shield you from fugazi things and put a hole through hate like special beam. All about the zen, I'ma stay hot, just picked up some fire, let me get my frequency to the right level. Vibrating over all the devils, reveling my greatness for a moment. Staying positive is the main component. I don't really see no opponent unless I'm in the mirror in the morning. I've been getting high, staying hydrated. Focus on my highs, not my lows, baby. I be levitating by the poolside. I say meditating like the woosah. They told me that the more you do, the more you get. I told them I want more real, no more counterfeit. Knowing what is meant for me ain't gotta chase. Resting where you meet your dreams halfway. Know I got the glow, I got the shine, baby. See, I got the glow, I got the shine, baby. Illuminate the truth, bruise the ego. We don't believe in egos between the amigos. No. Doing what I want, living how I live. Doing what I want, living how I live. I'm doing what I want, living how I live. Doing what I want, living how I live, yeah.
The PoPolitickin Show is brought to you by Audible. With over 180,000 titles to choose from, Audible is great for any continuous learner wanting to grow and expand their knowledge and insight. Go to www.audibletrial.com/POAudio and get an audiobook of your choice free with a 30-day trial. After the trial, your paid membership will begin at $14.95 per month. With your membership, you will receive 1 credit every month, good for an audiobook on Audible. Cancel before your trial ends and you will not be charged. So go to www.audibletrial.com/POAudio and download a free book by Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Napoleon Hill, Les Brown, Damon John, and more. Always remember that knowledge is power.